We can hear you, TJ Watt fans. That's us. Those who watch Garrett's power, the Browns' top-tier defense, know he was deserving. There's a bit of a difference between being deserving and a guy who actually flat out wins it. Sure, maybe Myles Garrett could be deserving for the stats or the season he had with the Browns. Could be deserving. But did he ultimately win the Defensive Player of the Year? No, flat out no. It is going towards TJ Watt. It shouldn't be going towards Garrett because we feel like he deserves it. Here you go, mate. Here's a gold trophy. We feel like you deserve it. This should be going to the best player on the field, and that is TJ Watt at his position at outside linebacker, pass, rusher, doesn't matter how you say it. Edge defender, the best guy on the field can go and get the quarterback and sack them. Not because someone feels like they need to be deserving. And here you go, mate. You've been trying hard for 4 years. Here's your medal. Here's your trophy. Good morning, Steeler Nation. Welcome back to Steelers Nation Australia. I've had a few hours to look over this stuff, and I still believe, and I know you guys out there too, the NFL Honor or NFL Honor Awards, they're a joke. Absolute joke. The Browns got 4 different awards, assistant head coach, a head coach, assistant to the head coach, Myles Garrett, and also comeback player of the year. You can pretty much argue all of them. You could have Dan Campbell being the head coach of the year or D'Amico Ryans. You could have somebody else being an assistant head coach. You could have Jack Flacco also being, DeMar Hamlin should have been comeback player of the year. But to me, and as Steeler Nation and Steeler Nation out there, this one really grinds my gears. I just can't move on just yet. So it's your morning, my almost 10 p.m. So let's talk about it. But I want to come from a different angle. I just listened to DK Sports. He had a really good podcast talking about this kind of stuff with Myles Garrett and how, he somehow won this award because of PFF and all those jokers over there too, right? And the guys that were voting for Garrett were, pretty much saying he almost got to the quarterback. He was this close. He was rated 7th. He got here 4th. And yeah, let's give him the award because he's been working really hard and he was, battling through injuries. So let's give Myles Garrett the award. Now, this will fade, I think, for Steeler Nation over the next few days when we go into true off-season mode, but it won't fade for TJ Watt. But we know how good TJ Watt is, not only in the NFL as one of the best players, maybe the best player in the NFL, or we should be named that. But he's going to be fueled with fire, hopefully. Before I get into this little segment, I want to cover... I want to find out why the NFL thought that Myles Garrett was the guy. But firstly, shout out to Najee because he won Angriest Run of the Year. And by the way, the one they chose, I didn't think was the best one of the year, but still, he won that one where he palmed off the Seahawk, and he's got the the scepter from Kyle Brandt, right? Pretty cool award. Also, shout out to Cameron Hayward as well. He's been running and trying to get the Walter Payton Man of the Year for 6 years in a row. I watched his video. It was awesome to see what he does in the community. The legend that he is wearing the black and gold. We need to get Cam a ring as best we can, or at least have a chance to get a ring and go on a playoff run. He's a fantastic human being, as you see in podcasts, on the field, off the field, helping out the youth and guys in Pittsburgh. He gets the guys to job interviews in suits and stuff like that. He goes to local shelters or hospitals or whatever it may be and just helps everyone out. He's a guy in the community for Pittsburgh. So Cameron Hayward is awesome. You guys know that. We all know how good he is for this team and for the city of Pittsburgh and also just for Steeler Nation all around the world, right? He's an excellent dude, most deserving of that. But, however, TJ Watt should have won. I don't care what any Browns fan says, any NFL analyst, Roger Goodell, anyone like that. TJ Watt should have won this award. But let's go through why. There's an article on NFL.com why they think that, Myles Garrett deserved to win this. And we're going to break it down. I'm going to read it bit by bit and then give you my take on it as we go. Right, yeah. So this is from NFL.com, right? Browns defensive end Myles Garrett named AP 2023 NFL Defensive Player of the Year by Nick Shook. So he wrote this. Good on you, Nick. It says here, Myles Garrett has officially crossed off a prominent item off his checklist. Okay, let's stop there. Off his checklist. Not our checklist. That's off his one that he wanted to get done. At the terms of, it really should be TJ Watt. Let's be very frank and honest. TJ Watt had a hell of a season this year. And if you're going to compare those two, which you should in this environment, there's no way that Myles Garrett beat TJ Watt, right? So he says here off his checklist. Let me go back and we'll move forward. Cleveland's edge rusher, Monster, earned his first Associated Press. So it's all done by the press. It's done by the guys who write the narratives, the stories, and stuff like that. And a lot of guys out there don't like the Steelers. They don't like to give Steelers praise at all. Okay, that was last night being Thursday. NFL honors. Garrett edged the Pittsburgh Steelers, TJ Watt, 165 to 140. In voting, Garrett earned 23 first-place votes, while Watt only had 11. How did that happen? Garrett got 23, TJ Watt got 11. That's half. It should have been the opposite. It should have been 25 to 15, 26 to 14, something like that, right? Don't know how these guys from the Associated Press, whoever they are in the NFL land, the writers, the podcasters, or the dudes on radio, whoever they are, right? Remember, they're just normal people. They're like you and I. They have an opinion. They're just normal people. However, they have a bigger space, right? I'm just a guy voicing my opinion. These guys are the same thing. So they came to that fact being it went 23 to 11. Now, Dallas Cowboys linebacker Michael Parsons, he got 89 points, took third and had 7 first-place votes. Then it was Max Crosby, Deron Bland. He should have had more chance, I reckon, getting 6 TDs to the house. He should have been up there. Garrett has spoken about reaching this moment as early as 2019, so that means they're probably setting up the narrative that long. Took him 7 seasons to finally achieve it, which it shouldn't have happened. It should have been TJ for sure. And now it's drawing complaints from other fans from other teams. It's drawing complaints from Steeler Nation and also drawing complaints, yes, from all the other teams that know that TJ Watt was the better defensive player of the year, right? Here's the funny part. Garrett didn't lead the NFL in sacks, the gold standard of admittedly incomplete stats used to judge defenders. Now, why do you think that a sack is so important to the numbers of being defensive player of the year, right? Think about it. If you're an edge rusher or defensive end, whatever it may be, you're running down the quarterback. You get to the quarterback, you stop them. They can't throw the ball in the air. You lose it down. You lose yardage. It's really important at that aspect to be like, yes, it does make a lot of sense. The more sacks you have, the more chance probably you should be defensive player of the year. Now, what does TJ Watt need to do? Does he need to break the record or try and break the record again, even though he was robbed last time as well? So they talk about that stuff where, sacks are important and it's a gold standard. It is. You should be doing that. Now, Garrett got tied for 7th place in 14. And the funny thing was, he recorded just 1 sack in his final 7 games, including the postseason in Week 18, when he spent resting. But also in the playoff game, he did absolutely nothing. Garrett's 2023 season cannot be properly summarized, though, so we're already giving him a bit of an out. He spent the back half campaigning through a shoulder injury, left the Browns fans fearing for the season might be done. Okay, so let's stop there. They're pretty much saying, and Nick Shook is saying in this part of the article, they're giving him benefit of the doubt because he had a shoulder injury, and they're saying, you know what, he went for the hard yards, he did the best that he could, he was getting out of that injury process, and that's why we gave him the award. Don't care. Go out there, play as hard as you can, and TJ Watt did better in all aspects. When they start talking about Cleveland Browns, Myles Garrett coming out of the injury makes no sense to me. He says here, Garrett managed to soldier through the pain, continued to occupy plenty of mental real estate on the opposing sidelines, drawing extra pass blocking attention, freeing up his fellow members to wreak havoc as part of the NFL's number 1 defense. Okay, stop there again. Another thing, this is NFL Defensive Player of the Year. This is an NFL defensive player, helps out the team by being part of the number 1 defense. Also, the number 1 defense, being the Browns in the regular season, got absolutely towed up by the Houston Texans. To my memory, the Texans laid on 40 points, and Garrett was nothing. And Stroud won his first game over old man Flacco Jacko, right? So don't give me that BS about Garrett helped out his team and he was the guy freeing up blockers to go and get it done for the other guys to make splash plays. No, it makes no sense. It's the award is defensive player of the year, not defensive player helps out the team in that aspect. So that really, you can already see how this article is going. This, by the way, this is NFL.com. It's going all around the nation, all around America, all around the world, right? Drawing extra pass, blocking attention, number one defense. This is the funny part too. He finished top 10 in every notable stats, including sacks. He got, I think that's 8th, which is crazy. TJ Watt was first. Tackle for loss, he was tied 7th. Not too sure what TJ was, but TJ Watt got more than him. QB pressures, he was tied 9th. And forced fumbles, 5th. So already in the stat department, okay, he's got quarterback hits 8. Quarterback sacks, he got 8. Tackle for a loss, 7. Pressures 9th. And tied 5th for fumbles. All right. You see how this stuff's kind of crazy and doesn't make any sense. And while Myles Garrett should not be Defensive Player of the Year, and it should be TJ Watt. TJ Watt got more stats and more, big plays than Myles Garrett than anything. If you go to these things here, you'll see him here. The more QB hits, more tackles for a loss, more sacks, more tackles, more interceptions, pass deflections, TDs, everything like that. So they even tell you in the article that it doesn't really, they go to the fact, well, we're talking about stats, and Myles Garrett was ranking 9th, 7th, or 5th, or 8th. He's not even really top 5 or top 3 in any of these things, okay? Then going down more. The Browns simply did not transform into an elite unit without Garrett, so they're building up even more. Before he had an injury, he was an absolute menace, recording 1 sack in at least 8 of the first 10 games. However, in the last 7 games, he got 1 sack, or, he just fell off a cliff. Garrett was a highlight machine, going viral on multiple occasions with clips with freakish athleticism, wowing fans with his pre-snap mimic of a basketball crossover. Don't care, right? Don't care. Get to the quarterback and sack the quarterback also, all right? There was one more line here too, and then the article's going to be over. It says here, they were certainly tuned in after witnessing him leap over a row of linemen to block Matt Gay's 60-yard field goal attempt. Now, why aren't they talking about TJ Watt's touchdown or his interception or his 19 sacks? They're focusing on, here's what they're focusing on. The NFL.com and why the writers are focused on this kind of stuff, right, from the AP. They're focusing on him being a part of an elite defense. Don't care. They're focusing on Myles Garrett, that he overcome an injury. And then when he did so, he only got 1 sack in the last 8 games. Don't care. All these kind of things makes you think that this thing is absolutely rigged, or there is no point watching the NFL Honors Awards ever again, because it is clearly stated throughout the season that TJ Watt was the better pass defender, pass rusher, defensive player of the year by far. Sacks, tackles, doesn't matter, right? So it goes on to say too, it helped that Cleveland became the elite defense under direction of AP Assistant Coach of the Year, Jim Schwartz, and also the other bloke, the other head coach for the Browns, he got the head coach of the year too. So the Browns got comeback player of the year, defensive player of the year, assistant coach of the year, and also head coach of the year too. Something's up. It seems a bit fishy to me. TJ Watt had the better season, the better stats, the better football play down the stretch. When the team needed him the most, he stepped up. Then TJ Watt got injured in the last game, and he couldn't play in the playoff game. And it didn't matter for this award, because Myles Garrett in the playoff game, before the awards are already settled, and they already had the narrative written out at the start of the year, was that Myles Garrett didn't even show up in the playoffs. This award makes no sense. This is probably one of the ones you look back in 10 years and go, how the F did they give that to Myles Garrett when TJ Watt had better stats? I could show my family and my friends and say who had the better season and show them all the stats, show them highlights of TJ Watt versus Myles Garrett. And they would choose TJ Watt, 9 times or almost 9.5, 10 times out of 10. In this case, they're choosing Myles Garrett 8 times out of 10. So anyways, I wanted to show you guys from the aspect of NFL.com how they're doing things on their side, writing about all this absolute BS. So it says here, wasn't afraid to deploy Garrett in a number of locations, some traditional, others exotic, and watch him feast, while his numbers won't stand up against some of the past Defensive Player of the Year winners. We can hear you, TJ Watt fans. That's us. those who watch Garrett's power, the Browns' top-tier defense, know he was deserving. No, he was deserving. There's a bit of a difference between being deserving and a guy who actually flat out wins it. Sure, maybe Myles Garrett could be deserving for the stats or the season he had with the Browns. Could be deserving. But did he ultimately win the Defensive Player of the Year? No, flat out no. It is going towards TJ Watt. It shouldn't be going towards Garrett because we feel like he deserves it. Here you go, mate. Here's a gold trophy. We feel like you deserve it. This should be going to the best player on the field, and that is TJ Watt at his position at outside linebacker, pass, rusher, doesn't matter how you say it. Edge defender, the best guy on the field can go and get the quarterback and sack them. Not because someone feels like they need to be deserving. And here you go, mate. You've been trying hard for 4 years. Here's your medal. Here's your trophy. That's not how life works. But unfortunately, in the NFL, everything is narrative-based, and they've been talking about this all year. So we have to just, take one on the chin, and next year, wait to see TJ Watt wreak havoc. I'll see you later.